Use a credit card smartly. I'll be honest with you, I love Dave Ramsey. His books have helped me out a lot. I've even collaborated with him in his office, but I don't always agree with him when it comes to credit cards. There are certain people who should never, ever touch a credit card. If you have credit card debt, you shouldn't be worried about a credit card. If you can't control your spending, you should not use a credit card. If you're using credit cards for points and then you're paying interest because you're not paying off the balance in time, you should not use a credit card. But if you use a credit card smartly just to make the purchases you would normally make, well, now those same credit cards could add some cash back or free perks for really doing nothing except using a credit card instead of cash. The key here is you gotta use a credit card smartly. Okay, some credit cards are gonna pay you cash back somewhere between 1% to 2% in cash back for every dollar that you spend. So if you spend $100, you're gonna get $1 to $2 in cash back. Now, it's not a lot of money, but if you got bills to pay, you gotta pay your groceries, you gotta pay your utilities, you gotta pay for your car and all this other stuff, and you're putting this money on a credit card or a debit card, might as well get some cash back. And then when you get that cash back, what you can do is you can take that cash back, and a lot of people like to just apply it to their purchases so you have a lower credit card balance, or you can take that cash back and use it as a investment bonus, because now if you have $1,000 in cash back, you can take the cash back and just dump it into your stock portfolio. I mean, you could even take the cash back from your credit card company and use that money to buy that credit card, not the actual credit card, but the credit card stock. That way now you become one of the owners of the credit card company. But of course, I'm just a random guy on YouTube. I can't tell you what to do. Investing has risks. You're never guaranteed to make money when you invest. In fact, you will lose money at some point, so make sure you always do your own due diligence and never blindly trust a random guy on YouTube. And number 7 is you gotta know your goal. More specifically, I want you to know your savings goal, you got to know your investing goal, and you have to know your spending goal. A lot of people are earning money and trying to create a financial budget and system without knowing what they're doing this for. Let's start with savings. You gotta have a savings cushion to protect you against an emergency. What's an emergency? Losing your job, your kid getting sick, your car breaking down, something serious happening. A sale at Macy's, that's not an emergency. You want to have somewhere between 3 to 12 months of expenses put aside for savings. I know it's a big range, and the reason why it's big is because, well, personal finance is personal. Some of you are going to be 23 years old, you have no financial responsibilities, and you're going to say, why do I need a whole bunch of savings? Can't I be more aggressive with my money? Absolutely. If you're young, you don't got a lot of financial responsibilities, be aggressive with your investments. Now, when you get a little bit older, you got kids, you got a wife, you got a husband, you got parents you got to take care of, maybe you can't take on as much risk. Now maybe you want 6 months or 9 months or a year's worth of savings put aside to be able to feel comfortable. That way, if you were to lose your job, you could continue living life for a year and not have anything to worry about. Then when it comes to your investments, I'm gonna go high level here. Again, you can join market briefs and see my investing masterclass to learn more about different ways you can invest, but there's 2 ways you can get paid as an investor. The way you can get paid, number 1, is through appreciation. Number 2 is through cash flow. Appreciation is you buy something, then you hope it goes up in value. Cash flow is you buy something and then it pays you a little bit of money every month or every 3 months just for owning that thing. Me personally, the majority of my investments are for cash flow because I like the idea of buying something and then getting paid because then I can live off the cash flow. Some people hate the idea of cash flow investing because number 1, it can be very slow, especially in the beginning. Number 2, you got to pay taxes on that income. You got to decide what's right for you. Would you rather work to see that appreciation, but then also potentially risk losing that appreciation? Or would you rather have the cash flow in hand and think about taxes and everything else? Now when it comes to spending, how much money do you need to be financially comfortable? And you can be as crazy as you want. I'm not here to say, oh, just live off of $2,000 a month. No, think about it. How much money do you need to really feel comfortable and feel free? For some of you, it might be $2,000 a month. For others of you, it might be $20,000 a month. For others, it might be $200,000 a month. I don't care. Think big. Think bigger. That's cool. But the reason why I want you to know this is because your investments have to fuel that type of lifestyle. And you want to know, if you want to live at a certain lifestyle, how many assets do you need to be able to fund this crazy lifestyle? That way you don't have to worry about money. Because the problem is, you have a lot of people saying, man, I want to live off of $5,000 a month, and you're doing that, but you have to go to work every single time you want to get paid. And if you don't go to work, you don't get paid. Well, if you want to be able to be free, you want to have the assets, the investments to be able to fund that lifestyle, and then you want to be able to buy the nice things and not have to worry about how you're going to pay for those nice things. You want a nice car, how are you going to pay for the car? You want to go to Cancun, how are you going to pay for Cancun? If you have the assets paying for it, well, now you can just keep living your life, but you need to know how much you want to spend. And this now brings me to point 7.5 as an added bonus, because one of the things that people like to talk about, especially in this investor community, is, well, how to invest my money and get potentially better returns? Because if I can invest my money and get better returns, well, now I can spend my money in a better way and live my life better. And this is where you got to understand that there's a couple ways that you can invest. You can be a passive investor. You're just putting your money into the markets, the S&P 500. Or you can also work to be more of an active investor. When I say an active investor, this is where you're actually researching market shifts. You're researching where the money is moving. You're researching where the economy is moving, and that can then create an investment opportunity for you. Now, if that's something you're interested in, to be more of that type of active investor, one of the best things that you can do is start researching these shifts. I talk about 5 different shifts. That there is a Main Street shift. This is when people spend money differently. There is a Wall Street shift, when you see a difference in where Wall Street and investors are investing their money. A government shift, when you see a shift in spending from the White House, from the government. An innovation shift, when you're seeing a shift in technology, new patents, new IP that's creating a shift. Or last but not least, a broad market shift. This is a broader macroeconomic shift. Maybe this is the Federal Reserve Bank cutting interest rates, or it's a recession happening, or a change of sentiment in the broader economy. All of these shifts create a change in spending habits, which create a change in investment opportunities. And this is where you can see some of the biggest and best opportunities, not as a trader, but as an investor. You can absolutely do this research yourself. It takes time, it takes work, but I would encourage you to try it yourself to see what it's like to actually do this research. But if you want some additional assistance, my team at Briefs Pro also does this, where we are analyzing these shifts. My market analysts are traveling the country and the world, talking to executives, going to trade shows, studying what's happening to publish a report on how these shifts are changing. This can help you then hopefully be a smarter investor. Again, if that's something you're interested in, you can check out Briefs Pro. But the whole idea here is if you want to get better returns, you have to get more involved with your investments to see how you can find bigger and better potential investment opportunities. It's not for everybody. It takes more time, takes more effort, takes more research. But if that's something that you're interested in, I would encourage you to start doing that research, or you can also let us help you. If you enjoyed this clip and you want to continue your financial education journey, I have another video that I think you'll love. All you got to do is click that button right over there. And for those of you who want to stay up to date on the top finance and business news, you can join Market Briefs, my free financial newsletter, by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.